What's up, YouTube? Okay. I wanted to talk about, our enemies and who are our enemies. Our enemies is people who don't encourage you to serve the Lord, who try to prevent you from doing that. That's what an enemy does, because like you can work, and it's not for, like, what I'm saying for like people who believe in something else, because I've learned, like, especially like in a workforce and stuff, like when you're working around other people, that's why they recommend, when you sign the forms and stuff, and they tell you the rules and what they expect and everything and stuff in the company. And it's they don't like people talking about religion, because and oh no in religion, it's religion and politics. And the reason is because it caused conflict. Okay. Because, one person might feel like theirs is better and this one is better. And, and then it causes a confrontation in the workforce. And that's not professional. That's not professional. So that's why they prefer for those things to be left out, even though people still be talking about it. But they're more careful, because if it's a conflict or anything and stuff, that's a write-up. So what I'm saying is that people, it doesn't have to be the same belief, because it could be someone who believe in something else, but come together and respect what each other believes, because that's why they say leave it out, because people actually will come together and work together for the good of the company. Okay. All right. It becomes a problem when it's conflict. Okay. You can't force somebody to believe this. You can't force somebody to do this. You can't force somebody to do that. You can't force them to believe this. You can't force people to do this. You can't force people to do nothing. Everybody has their own will. Some people use that loosely and people take it for granted, but it is consequences for your choices. Okay. There is yeah. Yeah. You gotta be careful with that, because even though it is a free will, you still have to deal with consequences if you make the wrong choice. Okay. So, all right. So I have the chess board here, and I don't play chess. I play checkers, but we're just going to use this as an example. Okay. So you're the one in the middle. And the brown is the people that's around you. Okay. And so we're talking about enemies. So we're going to say that those are enemies that are the brown, and you're the light brown. Okay, that's in the middle. When you are not in alignment, and when you're not in the will of God, Your enemies are surrounding you. Okay? They're all around you. They're all around you. Okay? All right. So let me read some scriptures and stuff, and I'm gonna leave this up while I read, okay? And I'll give more detail on that. All right. Which one? Okay. But I say unto you, which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you. Okay. And I wanted to say too, like, cause some people like put this out of content and stuff, like, because God said, love your enemies. It's not, he said to let people walk over top of you, let people abuse you, misuse you, and, just treat you like nothing or whatever, just walk all over top of you and stuff. No, that's not what God is talking about. Cause you can love someone from a distance and you don't have to have nothing to do with them. Okay? Because sometimes God would tell us to separate from some people, and it's for our good because he knows their heart. Okay? Because, all right, I'm about to go ahead of myself. Okay, let me stay on track. For the mouth of the wicked and the mouth of the deceitful are open against me. They have spoken against me with a lying tongue. Bless them which prosecute you. Bless and curse not. And see, the thing is, the reason why God said this, bless them which prosecute you, bless and curse not, because you don't have to curse them of what they're saying or doing to you. You don't have to speak or say those things back. Only thing you have to say, Lord, which is written, and it's his word, that Lord, you said you will bless those who bless me and you will curse those who curse me. It is written. It is written. That's what it say. So really, they're speaking things on themselves if you're in the will of God. Okay. And I wanted to say too. Let me say it right here on this one before I go to the next one. When you're not in the will of God, your enemies are surrounding you. They all are around you, and it could be anyone. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be whoever, because we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but principalities and wickedness in high places. And so, that's why God said his people perish from a lack of knowledge, because you have to have the knowledge, which is his word. And so, while you thinking you living it up, he laughing and everything and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Just living it up, playing around and stuff, wasting time, whatever, and stuff like that. With the people around you, and you not right with God, your enemies are surrounding you. They're already around you, and you just don't know who they are because you may be out of the will of God. See, when you're in the will of God, he will expose and let you know who your enemies are. Because the reason why this would be like this if you're not in the will of God, because listen, hold on, let me Let me continue to read real quick because I see my notes and it's for, okay, where I'm at. Okay, rejoice not when thy enemies fall, and let not thy heart be glad when he stumble. Be strong and of a good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them, for the Lord thy God, he go he it is that doeth go with thee. He will not fail thee nor forsake thee. I was trying to put it where you could understand it. Okay, they have prepared a net for my steps. See, they already surrounding. They already surrounding him. Like they already surrounding you in the middle and stuff. So they have prepared a net. It said they have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bound down. They have digged a pit before me into the midst whereof they are falling themselves. But see, they're going to be falling themselves, but that's because you have to be in the will of God. Okay? If you're not in the will of God, the scripture is not going to apply to you because you're not letting God do the revenge for you. When you let God do the revenge for you and stuff, he will deal with your enemies. Okay? Let me see this one. Therefore, if thy enemy hungry, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Okay. The next one. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou wilt revive me. Thou wilt stretch forth thy hand against the wrath of my enemies, and thy right hand shall save me. Okay, so when that happens, that's because, okay, I'm going to read that scripture again, okay? But I'm gonna say this. When we sin against God first. Okay? When we sin, that's why we have to ask for forgiveness every day. When we sin against God first. We have to deal with God first. First. Remember, thou shalt not have any other gods before me. That's the first commandment. Thou shalt not have any other gods before me. So that's the first thing we have to do first is get right with God first. Okay? Before we have to deal with people, we have to get right with God. We have to get right with God. Okay? We have to ask for forgiveness from him first. Like really, truly mean it. Like not saying like, hey, Lord, just forgive me for my sins and stuff, and then just go back and do it again and stuff. Yeah, sometimes it do happen like that because, it's a process. It do, and that's where God's grace and mercy comes in. And when you already know he gave you grace and mercy and stuff, and he say, this is it, he mean that's it. That's it. For real. I already told you, warning comes before destruction. Like when remember one of the videos I was talking about, when he asked me to be quiet and stuff, and I didn't, and I was put on blast. I was, you exposed it in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I could have ran away and be like, ooh, church hurt. You know what I'm saying? But no, like, you know what I'm saying? I took it. I took it. I took it. I suck it up. And, you know, and I kept it moving because, like, God's love is it. No one can compare to it. Not one person on this earth can compare to his love. Okay. So unless you in God's will, you have to be in God's will. When you're not in God's will, your enemies are surrounding you. Your enemies are already there. Your enemies are already there. Waiting. Okay? Waiting. And see, the thing is about God, he's so patient with us. Like, he really is. And it's kind of sad that, I ain't even gonna make it seem like I'm not in that mix too, because like it wasn't always like that for me, because I had to go through some things and stuff before I got it right. But there comes a time and stuff where you have to be like, enough is enough. Like, I don't want to go through this anymore. Like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Like, it's just too much. Okay. But he's not going to force himself on us. We have to be willing. Okay. So let me see which one I said. Okay. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou will revive me. Thou shalt stretch forth thy hand against the wrath of my enemies, and thy right hand shall save me. So once you get right with God and stuff, that's the first thing you have to do. You have to get right with God. I didn't want to go ahead because the next scripture is what I was about to say. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies be at peace with him. And I'm going to put all the scriptures in the description box. And that's in Proverbs 16:7. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies be at peace with him. Okay? So you could play checkers all you want, or chess or whatever, with people's lives. But the thing is, that is kind of risky. So really, when you do stuff like that, you really have to make sure that you're on the right team. Because if you're not on the right team, it's going to be a checkmate against you. And you don't want to be this checkmate where your enemies are surrounding you and coming against you. Because when God knows that, because God already knows what's ahead. So when he tells you to do this or not to do this, or whatever instructions he give you, and you don't listen, and he is patient, because he, you know what I'm saying, he waits a while before he said enough is enough. Okay? And when he leaves, when his presence leaves, guess who's there? Your enemies. your enemies. And it'd be people that you be like, dang, I thought we was tight. Like that type of, you know what I'm saying, enemies. Good Lord have mercy. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? Let you be this one right here where you are at peace with God. You have to, when we sin, we have to go before God. We have to deal with him and him alone first, before we deal with people. We have to deal with God first. And what does it say? He maketh even his enemies be at peace with him. Okay? So you have to be right with God first. All right? And so I'm going to leave you with this. It's important to rest in the Lord. So when you are in God's will, it's important to rest in him. And resting in him is, just spending that quality time with him and him alone, and where you two fellowship together and build that relationship and stand on his word, because you can't wait, you can't stand still and see the salvation of the Lord if you don't know his word. You know what I'm saying? That's how the enemy comes in and deceive, because you don't know his word. And that's why, like, some people think because I used to probably think that too and stuff, like when I kept hearing people like read 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 God's word, because he speaks to us through his word. So that's why he says to read his word, because he speaks to us through his word. And so that's why his word is there for us, to know him and build that relationship with him and have that knowledge. Because he said, my people perish by the lack of knowledge. And yeah, that's a scripture. That's in Proverbs. His people perish by the lack of knowledge. Okay? So remember, when we sin against God first. Okay, first, get right with God first. Get right with God first. And then it's the people. Okay? But it's God first. God first. Okay? All right. I'll catch you on the next video.